Greetings and good evening. Welcome to the RoundTable. Today is Friday, October the 20th, 2023. And welcome to Week 7 of the National Football League and Week 8 of the NCAA football season. Ladies and gentlemen, Week 7 of the NFL obviously kicked off on Thursday Night Football last night, where my New Orleans Saints went up against the Jacksonville Duval County Jaguars. And as my brother Griff, who so rudely decides to break in on my personal monologue, breaking out cans of drinks and whatnot, propping his feet up. It's all good. I see you. I got you. I'm going to take this medicine tonight. But we have bigger fish to fry. We'll talk about those Saints in a little bit. Brother Griff, how are we doing on this Friday evening, man?
Hey man, you know this is my most second favorite day of the week, man. Get on here with you on Friday, sit here and chat it up, talk about what's gonna happen this weekend, talk about what happened last night. Back, I've been looking forward to hear your dialogue on what took place on Thursday Night Football.
Wow. Well, before we get into what actually happened on Thursday Night Football in NOLA, Louisiana last night, I want to extend a personal, heartfelt welcome to all of the RoundTable family. Thank you for joining us on this Friday evening. Thank you for dedicating at least 59 minutes and 59 seconds of your evening to sharing your thoughts and your commentary with myself and Griff as we dialogue about, like I said, Week 7 of the NFL and Week 8 of the NCAA. So we must begin at the scene of the crime. The New Orleans Saints, struggling, went into last night's game, a 3-3 team with a lot of unanswered questions. Starting from the very top with the general manager, Mickey Loomis, the head coach, Dennis Allen, the offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, all of these individuals who have been a part of the Saints family, the Houdat family, for well over or close to a decade. Each one of them. So they know about the Saints culture. They know what we as a Saints fan base expect in our team. We know what's acceptable. They know what is acceptable. They know what is unacceptable. We know what is unacceptable. We know that we have a team that is a playoff team. Nothing below that. The talent that is present on that team pretty much can coach itself. But it seems over the past couple of years, Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael have taken upon themselves to implode this team on purpose, it seems like, by not calling plays to ensure that we are maximizing our opportunities and our chances to win. Last night's game, in particular, was the perfect example. The team fell behind the Jaguars early by allowing 2 early touchdowns, 2 scoring drives. That was not normal for the Saints defense, which automatically just gave me the, this is going to be a long night feeling. And we're playing from behind. Derek, check down Carr, decided to utilize the 3 to 5 yard passing game plan, and it kept the score close. Only because Jacksonville couldn't hold on to the ball. They had like 5 or 6 turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the game, and the Saints still couldn't get a touchdown. Goes back to the coaching. And I know that I'm rambling on, but I say all of that to say that I, as a proud Houdat, will forever represent my team, but it is time for the offensive coach to be relieved of his duties now that we have a 10-day period so we can backflip that. And at the end of the season, relieve the head coach of his duties. You don't want to do both of them at the same time. I'm a logical individual, so I understand that you can't turn the organization on its head. But Mrs. Benson, who is the manager of all of this, needs to come to the realization that the Saints are no good under the leadership of one each Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael. They should have won that game last night. I'm not going to blame Morrow for missing that 3rd and goal pass from Derek Carr,
Yeah.
got it. You catch him sometimes, you miss him sometimes. It just so happened that it was at the biggest moment of the game where we had everything on the line with 2 seconds left. Got it. We'll catch the next one. But it's time to make a change at offensive coordinator at a minimum. And Derek Carr, bruh, you are nowhere near that $40 million quarterback that people said you were. You're more like a 20, 21, maybe 22. You are not proving yourself to be a leader of this team. Trust and believe if you lead, they shall fall in line and follow. But come on, it's time to go. It's time for some changes. And like Forrest, that's all I got to say about that.
You sure, bro? Because I was going to give you at least another 10, 15 minutes. You need. I want to make sure that, I mean, because we can treat this as a therapy session. And I just want to make sure you get it all out your system.
Now we good. Hey, the Who Dat Nation shall rise again, bro. We gonna be all right.
Yeah,
but we
man,
do need to make some changes. We do need to
all jokes aside, though, for real, man. I watched that game, and one, your team, you know how I talked about last week, how it's very hard to win a game when you turn the ball over. Your team proved that you can still receive Christmas presents and still lose a game, because I'm gonna tell you, man, the Jaguars gave y'all every opportunity to win that game, and y'all did.
They sure did.
Now, hey, Miles, I need you to make sure you keep track on how many coaches we fired tonight. Miles normally keep up, because every week Miles say he went on break last week. He went and used the bathroom, got some water or something. He came back and he was trying to see how many coaches we had fired by the time he got back. So that's 2 so far, Miles. That's two so far. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, I ain't finna beat y'all up. The only thing that I will say on the other side of the ball, man, I still think the Jaguars got some stuff they got to deal with. Because I can tell you right now, man, any other team, they definitely would have lost that game. I think really might have had, 1 or 2 catches in that whole game. Y'all was able to shut that down. I know Trevor Lawrence was dealing with a knee problem, but still, man, he didn't look in sync. So they still got some stuff to deal with. But again, you took up the first 10 minutes of the show, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to what I consider to be the game of the week, the game that everybody gonna have their eyes on. Gonna be between Miami and the Eagles. Jalen against Tua, AJ and Smitty against Tariq Hill and Waddle. Man, I'm telling you right now, man, I'm looking forward to this game, because this game could be just a glimpse of what the Super Bowl might be. Both of these teams could easily make it to the Super Bowl representing the NFC and the AFC. And so I'm looking forward to this thing. I'm looking forward to seeing if the Eagles can get that defense to get some pressure on Tua. Because if they can't get no pressure on Tua, it's going to be a long day. I'm looking to see if the Eagles can run the ball. If they can run the ball, that means they can control the clock. That means they can keep Tua off the field. If it get into a scoring match, I don't see. I mean, as good as AJ Brown and Devontae, man, that damn Tua, man, it's the beast. But I turn it over to you, Drew. What you think?
You know, speaking as a fan, now that my team has gotten their L and taken their L for the week, I am so interested in this one game. Right? You opened your monologue by saying that this is a possible Super Bowl preview. We know offense wins games, defense wins championships. I want to see an offensive showdown this weekend. I want every defensive player to just take a break and just let the 2 offensive gurus go at each other, right? I want to see AJ Brown getting 50 and 60-yard passes. I want to see Devontae Smith getting a deep post and just taking it to the crib. I want to see Tyreek doing this a couple of times. I want to see Waddle. I want to see the clock going at 21 plus miles per hour. I want to see offense because this is primetime Sunday night football. And last time I checked, this is time for the NFL to put on its best, right, that we have for that particular weekend. And that's what I'm looking for. Now, as it boils down to what I want and what's actually going to happen, we have to take into consideration that, okay, they're playing up in Philly. You have the Philadelphia Eagle defense that is really starting to come into mid-season form, because we're going into that mid-season stretch. right? Now it's time to clamp down because I don't know about the rest of y'all, but if you haven't, you may want to check out Philadelphia's schedule because if anybody has a gauntlet, they got a gauntlet coming up here over the next 6 weeks. Jordan, pull up Philadelphia Eagles schedule and pull it up in a few minutes, right? And so we can highlight the difficulties that they're getting ready to go through. They have to start winning and winning convincingly now. This is not the weekend to say that, okay, this is going to be this stamp victory for us because Miami is just as good, if not better than they are. But Philadelphia has to make a statement not only to themselves, but to the rest of the NFC that we are still the kings of the hill because this is our early season test. That loss last weekend in Cleveland, got it. That's their one-off. It is because P.J. Walker wasn't really expected to do anything. This is their Jalen Hurts. It's time for me to strap in and go against my former battle buddy, right? And use that as my motivation to find my comfort zone and really let the NFL know that the Eagles are here for 2023. And I'm looking forward to it.
So let me throw this out here right fast because everybody talk about the Eagles defense, but do you know, hey man, the Dolphins got the third. They top in the defense ranking too. You know, they got the third most hits, third most sacks on quarterbacks in the league. Don't nobody talk about that. So they got a press. They got an upfront. They upfront is pretty good. They secondary is where Jalen can probably bounce back. Because they secondary is 26 in the league. And AJ Brown is averaging over 125 yards per game in the last 4 games. So if they're going to exploit anything, they're going to have to be able to exploit that secondary and be able to give Jalen some time to be able to throw the ball. I'm again, like I told you last week too, though, man. Jalen Hurts right now, he gonna have to help him with his legs. I know we talk about throwing the ball, but in order to keep extend some drives, he gonna be able to have to scramble some too. The goal is to keep Miami off the field. To keep that offense. If you can keep that offense off the field, they got a chance. That's all I say.
Now you're absolutely right. And Troy mentioned in the chat, you got the number one run defense going up against the number one offense in the NFL, right? And neither one of us have talked about the 305, right? You love to tout Alabama talent and Alabama quarterbacks at every opportunity. You have 2 very good, very, very, very good Alabama quarterbacks going up against each other on opposite sides this weekend. One is about precision, one is about anticipation, and both of them have an equal amount of weapons available to them.
Yeah.
2 is going to have a very good game. You mentioned if the Philadelphia back 4, the Philadelphia back 5 doesn't really lock in and put a body on Waddle, put a body on Tyreek, which is going to be virtually impossible because their escapability is just something that's off the charts, then look for Tua to have not only those mid-range across the middle passes, but those deep go routes for Tyreek, those deep post routes for Waddle. And we haven't even talked about the run game. We haven't even talked about Tua's escapability, right? Look for Tua to have a MVP breakout type game. Jalen Hurts is going to have to keep up. I don't see either defense being able to stop either offense. At a minimum, both of them are going to be in the 30s at the end of the game. Both teams will have at least 30 plus points.
Oh man, if that happened, then we definitely gonna have a good game if that happened.
Yes, sir. Moving along from the big matchup in Philly on Sunday Night Football to another huge matchup. The NFC North leading Lions, man. The Lions are coming to be more. Baltimore, MetLife Stadium, or M&T Bank Stadium, my bad. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore to see what they can do about Lamar and slowing Lamar down, who is a freak of nature. But as Dan Campbell said, I got a game plan. I'm not going to share it with you. I'm going to make you think that I'm scared, right? Because I call him a nightmare, which he is. But I'm I was going to attack their passing game because
Yeah.
but that'll only give you fuel for your false narrative that you keep saying about Lamar's accuracy. That is not the
Look,
case.
I wasn't even planning on talking about
Do
Lamar.
you think we get some stickum in some people's gloves this weekend? Was going to be my question for the Baltimore Ravens.
For the Ravens?
Yes, because you recall they couldn't catch a pass last weekend.
Yeah, I think. I mean,
or the weekend before that.
I don't think that's gonna happen often, man. I think with the Ravens, man, honestly, this game is gonna be closer than a lot of people think as well. One of the problems that Detroit is dealing with right now, whether or not Montgomery and Gibbs. I think Gibbs is gonna play this week, but he's still playing injured. I don't think Montgomery is out with his ribs. That's a key part. Jared Goff is about to face one of the better defense he didn't faced all year. Now, Jared Goff has been pretty good, but the problem with Jared Goff is he don't deal with pressure too good. And the Ravens, they normally good at getting to the quarterback with their front four, which leaves all those guys in the secondary to run around with those receivers. So that's going to be the deciding factor. If Montgomery is not playing and Gibbs is not 100%, but I forgot. Jameson Williams is back. And you see that joker got a 45-yard touchdown last week. So that just adds to what Jared Goff got over there. But the Ravens secondary, that's going to be a matchup with St. Brown because they probably going to put Humphreys on St. Brown. So who going to match up with Williamson? That's going to be ugly. Then that tight end Laporte. So, but I think Zay Flowers will catch the ball a little bit. I think Bateman will catch the ball. You already know Andrews is going to get his catches. He's the number one target for the Ravens. I think again, this is a game where Lamar gonna have to use them legs a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. Because I think you touched on what Detroit is going to focus their offensive game plan on, which is going to use those receivers that at Jared Goff's disposal, and they're going to rely more on the pass this game because that is Baltimore's weak point on their defense is their back five. The front four, front five, front six, front seven, depending on the defensive scheme, is always going to be solid for the Baltimore Ravens. But anytime that they have a weak spot, it is in that defensive backfield, right? Humphreys can only do so much. You had Peters there at one point, but they have gaps that can be exploited. And I believe that with Detroit's offense this year, the way that it is operating this year, with the efficiency that they have already displayed across the NFL against very good teams this year, if Baltimore loses this game, it is going to be because Jared Goff has a huge passing game. Not what Lamar does, not how effective Lamar is in the run game or how effective he is in the pass game. It's going to be because of their defense and their defense getting gashed for big plays.
Yeah, that's the problem. Matter of fact, I think they give up almost 12 yards per reception when people do get. But the Ravens is leading the league in sacks too. So,
yeah, it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah,
very good game. Looking forward to seeing the outcome of that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Moving on from the AFC East, let's take it to the AFC North, and let's take it to the AFC West, where you have your Super Bowl defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against the Los Angeles Chargers, who gave away a game last time we saw them in the national.
What you mean gave away a game?
Gave away a game, but we're not gonna bring that up.
Man,
You have divisional foes. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to come back and spread your Cowboy love, even though they're not a part of this conversation. We have two divisional foes who are picked, right, on a lot of people's boards to make it to the playoffs. One as a wild card, one as a divisional champ. Do we think that the Chargers have a legitimate shot to actually go in to Kansas City and beat Patrick Mahomes and the rest of that phenomenal coach team that never and let's not jinx it. Let's not bring up the Zebras tonight.
Look, I'm sorry, man, because I had that in my notes. don't want to give my pick right now, but what I will say, they playing at home. They got Taylor Swift, and they got the referees, man. It's gonna be a hard one for the Chargers, man. The Chargers, man, they defense, they secondary could easily be exploited. You know, all Mahomes got to do is throw a couple of passes up in the sky, and he gonna get the flag that he need to get the ball down the field if the play don't go the way he needed. But I think that he gonna need somebody else to step up other than Kelsey. Kelsey gonna need some assistance. We already seen that Kelsey is human and he been hurt a couple of times this year. So I mean, I think that kid Shaheed Rice, I think that's his name. He looked pretty good here lately. That's probably gonna be the guy he gonna have to go to and lean on Pacheco. But we already know that the Chargers secondary is not that good. It's not that good at all. So if he can get that ball, they can exploit that. And they defense, look, Joey Bosa got a broken toe, so he ain't gonna be the guy because he didn't have that much of an impact on the Cowboy game. Khalil Mack, on the other hand, is on that other side as well. So, but we know that that Mahomes is slicker than a can of oil. He always figure out ways to get out of some of that stuff, and so trying to get at him could be trouble. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, you said a mouthful, man, and everything that you said is absolutely correct, and you're spot on. From the favoritism that you're going to get on some officiating calls, as it has already been displayed, obvious calls in the first 6 weeks of the season as pertains to the Kansas City Chiefs, to having the best quarterback in the game, to having the best tight end in the game, to having one of the best coaches in the game, in the history of the game, on your sideline calling the plays. So everything is in your favor. You're going.
You left out Taylor. You left out Taylor, bro. You left out Taylor Swift.
And of course you have Taylor Swift, who is going to get a screenshot every 10 seconds. Every time Travis Kelce catches a pass, she's going to get a shot up in the stands, you know, and all that. Got it. You got all of that in your corner. And even to boot, you have Kevin Staley on the other side, who is obviously going to give you a couple of calls himself because he is good to give the other team the ball, just like Kirk Cousins is good to give the other team the ball every now and then, right? But I still say the Los Angeles Chargers have a legitimate shot to win the game. Okay. And here's why. The Chargers have one of the better offenses on or in the NFL. Regardless of how banged up their defense is, the Kansas City offense of 2023 is not the Kansas City offense of 2022 or 2021 or 2020 or 2019. This team struggles to get to 24 points. And the Chargers defense, as suspect as they are good enough to have their offense have enough opportunities to outscore the great Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Andy Reid and Jake from State Farm. All of them wrapped up together. I still think the Chargers have a shot, so don't be surprised if I pick the Chargers at the end of the night.
Hey, man, I ain't never surprised at what you do, man. You picked the Saints to win, too, so
Hey, and I'm glad you said that. Because if Jordan ever catches up and actually puts the correct record that we have predicted thus far this season, I think I've lost like maybe 6 or 7 games, and most of those is because I picked the Saints. Hey, so I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna start picking with my head as it pertains to the Saints. That is the only game that I go with every week with my heart. The only one. The rest of the record speaks for itself.
Thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Dolan or Jordan, whoever blew the whistle, man. Let's keep it moving.
On to the next, baby. On to the next. The Cleveland Browns traveling to Indianapolis to take on Gardner Minshew and your Indianapolis Colts. Man, I cannot wait to not look at this game. You know why? Because Gardner Minshew is starting for the Indianapolis Colts, going against the Cleveland Browns, whose quarterback we don't know who's playing. I'm getting kind of tired of this story, man. What's up with Deshaun and his injuries?
Hey, man, they have predicted he gonna play this. But hey, I gotta say this right fast because D just put that in there, and I'm here in Houston right now. So for those that was watching the playoffs right now. The Astros came back and won the game, so they extended this thing. So,
Okay.
hey, be safe for my Houstonians. Y'all be safe out there because the streets ain't gonna be safe right now. But as far as for this game right here, man, Deshaun Watson is actually supposed to be back this weekend. But the Colts got so many holes, man. One, you see Richardson is out for the rest of the season. AR-15 is having a season injury, shoulder surgery. They still haven't got. I mean, I think they're gonna get more production out of Jonathan Taylor this week. He was on the pitch count here the last couple of weeks or whatever. But Minshew is gonna make sure that the Browns stay in the game. And that defense, well, we already seen with the defense. They coming off what. They knocked out one of the last remaining undefeated teams. So really, whoever the quarterback is, don't really have to do much on that side of the ball because Minshew I said Minshew, but Minshew, they call him the resurrection of Fitzpatrick. He gonna make sure that the Browns stay in the game.
Right. And I don't believe the Browns need Gardner Minshew's assistance. Because the Browns should go into Indianapolis feeling that they are going to win this game regardless of where the location is.
Yeah.
Because they should feel that they are a better team regardless of if Deshaun is under center or whether or not it's PJ Walker. And as you mentioned, that defense, which is the top-ranked defense in the National Football League, does travel. And they will travel. So the Colts have a tall task ahead of them tomorrow or this Sunday. I don't foresee them being very competitive if the Cleveland Brown offense is operating as we expect it to. If Deshaun does come back and is 100%, I can go ahead and call this one now and say that the Cleveland Browns should come out of there with a dub, but that's why you play the game. So we shall see.
Yes, sir. They coming off that emotional high, bro. They come out that beating they could mess around and slip. They beat the 49ers, could mess around and slip. We didn't seen it happen before.
Yeah. I understand. But I'm confident that these are trusted professionals, as they would say. And they understand that every game is absolutely critical because we are in the AFC North, which is the toughest division in the league. And we cannot afford to overlook any opponent, especially someone that we're somewhat familiar with the Colts. So looking forward to this game. And I kind of dismissed it a little bit earlier, but I'm looking to see how well this defense shows back up and whether or not they have a letdown that you are saying that they may be susceptible to. But I don't think it's going to be that case. Moving on. What's next?
See, man, you put words about I didn't say that was going to happen, man. It's all good, man. I did want to throw this one thing out there, though, man. I miss Cooper. We can keep it moving. I miss Coop, man. Coop up there balling out.
Was Coop not worth that $20 million?
Man, you talk to Jerry Jones, man. I ain't say that. I would have paid him the way we giving everybody else money. Shucks, man.
Yeah. This is a very interesting game to me, right? The Steelers against the Rams, because to me they are mirror images of each other, just on different coasts, because they are both like muddling around the middle of the pack, can take a huge step or they can take a huge step back. It just depends on how the cards play out. It's like getting a hand in spades, man. It's like, do I get all of the good, spades in my hands, or I get a lot of hearts and diamonds? So it just depends on how things unfold every week for these two teams. This one is kind of difficult to pick for me.
For me, man, as I look at it now, the Rams that's playing now is somewhat different than the Rams that's been playing in the beginning of the season. Man, he got Cooper Kupp back, which has made a immediate impact on the team the minute he came back. The Pittsburgh offense has been truly underperforming, as well as their defense, man. Their defensive secondary, again, this is a prime game for Stafford to have a good day, because that defensive secondary been giving up. Hey, the defense is pretty good, but when they give up plays, man, they averaging about 12 to 14, 12 in between 12 to 13 yards per catch when they giving up big plays. So they get these chunk plays, man. and they've been getting gashed. So with Cooper Kupp, with what's the kid name? I can't even say the kid name.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I don't want to butcher his name, but the kid that was holding it down while Cooper Kupp wasn't there. Now you got both of them. Mm-hmm. That's going to be shaking up that secondary for the Steelers. And then you got a offense on the Steelers side that's definitely been underperforming. Got a great defense. You got TJ Watt over there. He going to get his. But I don't think this game going to be as close as some people might think it's going to be, especially with them playing out in California.
Troy say the Rams defense is soft. I would beg to differ. You try telling that to Aaron Donald.
I want him to tell that to Aaron Donald.
Yeah. I think you may have talked me into selecting the Rams this weekend for this game because of the hit and miss with the Pittsburgh offense, because Matt Canada is their offensive coordinator and he needs to be relieved of his duties just like Pete Carmichael should be relieved of his duties. And I'm quite familiar with Matt Canada, so I can speak on Matt Canada because Matt Canada was trashed while he was the offensive coordinator for the Louisiana State University Tigers. So Matt Canada should go if Pittsburgh wants to improve its offense. And we've already heard rumors about who might be his replacement. Chucky, right? But different conversation for a different day.
Oh, that's gonna shake the league up.
Different conversation for a different day.
Miles prognosticated that you was getting ready to fire another coach before you started talking about man. He said, "Here comes somebody else getting fired."
You see, me and Miles we already on it, bro. This is one of those games where, after the Pittsburgh Steelers get the brakes beat off them by an improving Los Angeles Rams offense, and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is stagnant, and the Pickett to Pickens connection is not connecting. I think there may possibly be a change in Pittsburgh because one thing that Mike Tomlin does not do is accept mediocrity, and we're not having losing seasons because it's never happened. If we're going to make a change, we're going to make a change regardless of how somebody feels about it. And throughout his 16 or 17-year coaching career in Pittsburgh, he has been nonchalant, or not nonchalant. He has not been one to be taken lightly when he tells you that this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it and this is the way that we're going to do it, because it is the Steeler way. Yeah. So, Matt Canada, you might have some bags to be packed on Monday or Tuesday or whenever y'all get back to the office. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Hey, Troy bring up a good point. We'll keep it moving. But he do, one of the problems the Rams is going to have is trying to establish a running game. They ain't had a running back in a while. So that could be an issue.
Running back by committee. Moving on. Now, every now and then we have these episodes where we have to do some things. We have to make some changes because certain other things are not happening, right? We know that Griff's favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys, are on a bye week this week, so their game slot was available. And we scratched our head and tried to go and figure out which game can we put in the Cowboys time slot to make America care even less and worry more about the team that was on a bye than the teams that were actually playing in the game. And we finally, after a lot of deliberation, settled on your Las Vegas Raiders, Troy, and the Chicago Bears, who are already a lock for the number 2, 3, 4, and 5 pick for next year for whatever reason. So, Griff, what do you have to say about Troy's Raiders and their chances, who have won a couple of games?
Hey, man, they on
a couple of games.
They on a 2-game winning streak right now, bro.
Yeah.
And they playing against a quarterback that I ain't never heard of, because Justin Fields, he already been ruled out of the game for this week. So, Chicago got a running back room that's hurt. They got their quarterback missing. All they got is Moore over there because none of the other receivers really put up nothing, and their defense been lackluster. So, Troy might be happy another week in a row, even though he ain't even gonna pick his own team, even though they playing against. Let me see what I said. The quarterback name is Tyson Badgett. I ain't never heard this dude before. So that's who's gonna be starting for Chicago this weekend. And the Raiders, quiet as it kept, old Max Crosby over there. If he got one thing going on for him in the Raiders, they got old Max Crosby. I think Troy, as much as he want McDaniels to lose again so he can go be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots again, I prognosticate that the Raiders gonna have another win this weekend, bro.
Yeah, I think you may be correct in your assessment there, good sir. And your Las Vegas Raiders, Troy, will actually throw the ball to one of the top 3 wide receivers in the National Football League in Devontae Adams, because he has already said, throw me the damn ball. I'm one of the top 3 receivers in the National Football League, and I did not sign a contract for $28 million a year for you not to throw me the ball. So throw me the ball. And guess what's going to happen this weekend? A lot of balls are going to be thrown to Devontae Adams. And last time we checked, the Bears defense, suspect. Their offense, even worse. So the Raiders should cruise.
Well, the Raiders got a senior citizen at quarterback themselves this weekend because Jimmy G is out and old Brian Hoyer is back there, the journeyman. So he gonna be back there, but he can get the ball to Devontae Adams.
Yeah, still, yeah. There should be an easy victory for the Ravens, for the Raiders. Moving on next. Bye.
See, they ain't even have to blow the whistle for that
one. Man, to the big game on Monday Night Football between the top ranked, if we were talking ranking teams, in my opinion, the top ranked San Francisco 49ers going up against your Minnesota Vikings, the Skull. Whether or not Kirk Cousins is going to Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football, because Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football is something special, right? Because Kirk can always throw for 400 yards and he can give you 4 interceptions all in the same game. Which Kirk Cousins are we going to get this weekend? Nobody knows. What you won't get is a 400-yard Kirk Cousins because JJ is out, right? So Minnesota's passing game, legitimately, going up against this San Francisco defense, what type of game plan must they put on the field to actually give them a shot come mid-third quarter?
Again, man, it's just going to be one of them games where if they can get some resemblance of a running game, then which would make some people start to creep up in the box, they might. I mean, Addison is not a bad receiver, man. That kid is pretty good. I like him. Hawkinson, man, is a good tight end, and I think they got what's up, boy, Claiborne. I think his name is some type of Bourne. I know his last name Bourne, whatever. But that kid, I mean, because you with Kirk Cousins, man, you can get the 400-yard Kirk Cousins, or you can get the 3 interception Kirk Cousins. It's all about whether or not they can establish a run, and you know me, that's how I'm always establish a run and be able to keep him upright. If they can keep him upright, they might have a chance. But like you already said, that defense of the 49ers is going, they mad right now. They lost to the Browns last week. They done heard all this stuff from all the people that's been talking, and so they got something to prove.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's on Monday Night Football, so all of the country is going to be watching. That defense does have something to prove. Not thinking that they have something to prove. They do have something to prove. They need to be able to prove that they can shut down even a hobbled offense, an offense that has the ability to put up 30 to 40 points on any given night. And for as much ribbing that I like to give Kirk Cousins, he is a top 15 quarterback that can lead a team to the Super Bowl given the right situation. So the San Francisco 49ers surely cannot take this game lightly. They cannot go into Minneapolis thinking that they're going to just have a cakewalk. We know that it is not the way that Mike Shanahan thinks and game plans, but we haven't talked about, specifically their injury report. How does Debo look? How does CMC look, right? And whether or not Purdy is going to have his backside covered because Trent Williams is 100%. We don't know whether or not San Francisco is operating on all cylinders. We don't know how hobbled they are. I haven't tracked or followed their injury report this week, so they not. It's going to be an entertaining game, is all I would say.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how Purdy bounces, but this is going to be the first game since Purdy been a professional that he's starting a week where he didn't had a loss. Because I mean, he's been undefeated the whole time he's been in the league. And let's just put it out there. He wasn't doing too good before Debo and Christian McCaffrey got hurt. But again, he ain't playing against the same type of defense that he played against. But my research showed that of all the teams in the league, Minnesota is the one that blitzed the most in the league. So they looked at what was going on with the Browns last week. They might be bringing some heat to them. So it could be a long day for them. So it ain't a gimme game.
Well, let me throw this right back at you.
Throw it at me. I'm catching it.
Minnesota blitzes more than any other team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Their record is what?
Man, come on, man. But okay.
And I say that.
Right.
I say that to say this. I say that to say this. Their defense is a mirror image of their defense from last year. Last year's defense led them to a 13-4 regular season record because they won all of those one-score games. This year, that same defense, which is now the number one blitzing defense in the National Football League, has played like garbage and cannot stop anything, and they fold like wet toilet paper. So what makes you think that they're going to be able to limit San Francisco in any way? Their only hope is to outscore San Francisco and get into a shootout and just wish that the San Francisco defense decides not to show up.
Well, okay. Since you asked me a question, if I can respond to it,
please retort.
Okay. So if I might retort. So the thing is that we don't know what 49er team is going to show up. We don't know who's going to be on the field. I ain't talking about the defense, right? We know what's going on that other side, but I'm talking about the offensive side of the ball. It's still a whole bunch of unknowns there. And so how do Purdy respond to missing some of those key players? Because again, against the Browns, before CMC got hurt, before Debo got hurt, they were still being shut down. And then the Browns, who had PJ Walker over there, Amari Cooper still had over 100 yards receiving on what's supposed to be a top-tier defense in the league with the backup to the backup. And Kirk Cousins is not the backup to the backup. So that's the only reason. I mean, and like we said, every game got to be played. So anything can happen. And on this particular, it's on a Monday instead of Sunday. So any given Monday. And plus, I'm doing like you do. I don't want to let it be known what I'm gonna do until I actually make my picks.
Well, guess what? It is now the time to make the picks. So please, sir, I bid you. Here is your time to shine. The light is on you. Tell us who is going to win this weekend and why.
Okay, so I got the Eagles over the Dolphins at home. Yes. I have the Ravens over the Lions at home. Yes. I got the Chiefs and the referees and Taylor over the Chargers. I got the Browns over the Colts. I got the Rams over the Steelers. And it's really going to shock some people right here because that's just what I do. I got the Bears over the Raiders and the 49ers over the Vikings.
Okay. I am not mad at
I'm trying to play catch up right now, man. I'm trying to shake it up.
I feel you. And I'm going to continue to give you an opportunity to earn your money and earn your keep, as they would say, because you and I are not going to pick the same teams to win. With that being said, man, I've gone back and forth about this game. This is the most difficult game to pick because you don't know which defense is going to make that big play. But it's going to, in my opinion, turn into a good old-fashioned shootout between two high-powered offense that for the Philadelphia Eagles, they finally get it right and get on track, and they have those big plays, and it's just a continuation for the 305 as long as they can provide to the opportunity and the time to make those throws. the Miami Dolphins traveled to Philadelphia on Sunday Night Football and shocked the world. 305 going to win this one. Lions and the Ravens, another big game. I do believe that the visiting team does go into M&T Bank Stadium and they shock the Baltimore Ravens. The Lions are for real, and they are most likely on their way to the NFC Championship. I'm telling you, watch out for the Lions. Chargers, Chiefs, you already said. The Zebras and Taylor. Patrick Mahomes got this in the bag, baby. Browns over the Colts, you are correct. I'm going with the Rams over the Steelers as well. And I'm going to go on the opposite side. Troy, you and I got some talking to do because guess what? I am picking your Las Vegas Raiders to not only win this game, but to win this game convincingly because you and the other Bears fan that we have in the chat are going to be the only two people watching this game, but definitely keep us in the loop. And obviously on Monday Night Football, baby, we got the San Francisco 49ers traveling to the Skull Country and walking away with the Viking skull in their backpack as they get back on the bus to go back to the airport with a dub over Kirk Cousins and them.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely going to be some separation after this weekend. I mean, it ain't like it ain't already separation. You already miles ahead. You ain't even got to pick no more. I think I still won't catch up with you.
No, man. This is fun. Here we go.
Let's go to NCAA, man.
Hey, yeah, the NFL, great segue. To me, I say it every opportunity that I can. There's nothing like Saturday football in college. The most exciting day of the weekend if you're a football fan, in my opinion. High school is personal. College is regional. NFL is specific. That is how the love flows, right? Because my favorite team could be on the opposite side of the nation, and I support them like I'm right there in the stadium. Nothing like college football games. We have a huge game this weekend between Ohio State Buckeyes and the Penn State. The Lions. Is Penn State ready for the big stage like they once were? Are they ready to go up into Ohio State and knock down the traditional top dog of the Big Ten?
I'm going to say this, man. If they've ever been ready before, this is the time for them to do it. I mean, they got one loss right now. That was a Notre Dame. That was a close game. But I think the Penn State is the top scoring team in the Big Ten right now. If you go look at the stats, I think the Ohio State has injuries on the offensive side of the ball as far as the two starting running backs. And then in Jigga, I don't think he's going to be playing this weekend. And they just haven't been consistent on the offensive side of the ball. I think this is going to be one of them old school Ohio State and Penn State games. I think it's actually going to be a low scoring game. And it's going to come down to the team that makes the less amount of mistakes.
That is quite specific, and that is, in my opinion, exactly what is going to happen in this game. I believe that is going to be a lower scoring game like you had in Ohio State against Notre Dame, where it was a defensive struggle. Both coaches playing things kind of close to the vest and taking those shots whenever those opportunities present themselves, which will be far and in between. And you're going to have to believe that Ohio State taking that home field advantage, the 110,000 people that are going to be in the stadium, creating an enormous amount of noise to be enough of a difference maker for them to win a close game at home. If you are an Ohio State fan, because of the lack of offensive prowess that you have not seen from them this season. You were correct when you said that the Lions come in with a very good defense. And a very good defense going up against a not so great offense is a recipe for a upset if you are a Ohio State Buckeye. So they need to be on upset alert. Don't think that they have this in the bag. As long as you mentioned, whoever makes the less amount of mistakes, if key turnovers late in the first half or a key turnover early in the second half or late in the second half, that is going to be the big difference maker because I don't see them driving up and down the field on either side to take control of this game. It's going to be a nip and tug type of back and forth tug of war type game.
Yeah, I really think I just give it to Ohio State because they playing at home in the shoe. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing I see about. That's the only difference. If they was playing in Penn State, I would give it to Penn State. Just how closely these two teams match up with each other.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, man. Yeah, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to be the difference maker if Ohio State does begin to have a little bit of separation. So if a big play is made, he's probably going to be the one to make it. So I'm going with OSU on this one. Duke and Florida State. This is a surprise for a lot of people that Duke is week 8 of the NCAA season, still a national threat. They're still a national threat. Week 8, right? They have only one loss. They're going up against the 4th-ranked team in the nation in the Florida State Seminoles, who is obviously undefeated, has their own Heisman hopeful on their team. But do we think that Duke can travel down to Tallahassee and do this?
First of all, man, look, I don't think Florida State because it's Florida State homecoming game. I don't think they knew that Duke was going to be the number one defense in the the ACC when they was going to be playing these dudes, man. I think they're a pretty good team. Hey, they showed what they did with Clemson. They showed what they did with North Carolina State. But I just think Florida State is running on all cylinders right now. Travis has the opportunity to break Chris Winke's all-time Florida State quarterback record this weekend, and I think it's going to happen, bro.
So do you see that Florida State is having more of an easy time going up against Duke?
I don't think. I mean, it's granted they the number one defense in the ACC, but with the exception of Clemson and North, they really ain't played nobody. And they blew Clemson out in the first game of the season. Nobody was even expecting what we saw.
They took Notre Dame down to the wire like this.
Yeah. I mean, again, lost to Notre Dame by a score. I predicted not being as easy as some might think it'd be for FSU, but FSU fans already know it's not going to be easy. But still, it's a homecoming weekend. The atmosphere, it's going to be different. I still think Florida State is going to be victorious in this game.
No, I agree that Florida State should win this game, but it is not going to be a cakewalk, regardless of the atmosphere. Nobody cares if it's homecoming. They're not playing. Duke has the number one ranked defense in the ACC because they have the number one ranked defense in the ACC. And Florida State has not run away with each one of these victories other than the opening night of the season. They haven't been
who was that? Who was that they played on the opening night?
They played my Fighting Tigers of Louisiana State University. But no, Florida State should win, but it's just going to be closer than the experts would say, like Lee Corso.
I agree.
All right, moving on, man, to another big game in the SEC this weekend. The 17th ranked Tennessee Volunteers are traveling down to Tuscaloosa to visit your Alabama Crimson Tide. This is not a cakewalk for either team. Obviously, Alabama is favored, but I know that y'all are not overlooking Tennessee because Tennessee does have a 5-1 record, and they can put up points.
Yeah.
How do you think this game turns out?
I think it's going to, again, come down. Alabama is going to be a close game again, but Alabama has to rebound from the last year loss to Tennessee. That game restirred the rivalry between Alabama and Tennessee, and Alabama got something to prove this year, man. It's just that our offense is just not consistent. If it's one knock, I think my defense is going to be okay because Tennessee does not have the high-power offense that they had last year. So I think my defense is definitely going to keep me in the game, but my offense just ain't consistent, and I ain't afraid to admit it.
See, that is the reason right there that this game is a toss-up. I don't know why Alabama is favored. I don't know why Tennessee would be favored. I would have this game as a literal toss-up because of the inconsistency that you just mentioned about your offense. Nick Saban still hasn't settled on what type of offense are we actually going to be running this year, because Alabama has been skating by the past couple of weeks. Granted, it's against familiar SEC opponents, and we know that these games are going to be tough within the division. You still would expect a certain level of separation between Alabama and those who are not on their level. And they've been skating these past few weeks. Now, who's to say that Josh Heupel is not going to bring in the volunteers and pull out all of the stops, and we're going to test how good of a defensive team that you have this year, because we're going to air it out. We're going to turn this into a shootout, and we believe that we can repeat last year's result this year, just in time, right? But we're going to see.
You ain't got Hendon this year.
I know who you going with.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna shock the world, and I'm gonna pick Alabama too.
Well, you go ahead, bro. I know you hurt people.
I'm picking the Alabama Crimson Tide, man. I'm picking the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now on to the next. The USC Trojans are welcoming in the 14th ranked Utah Utes this weekend. We were talking about this game before the show, and we both predict that this is the weekend that the USC Trojans kind of fall off the map this year, because we think Utah is going to take care of business, right?
Yeah, they dropping out the top 25 this week.
Yeah. Now, enough about that game. Unfortunately, Caleb Williams will not repeat as the Heisman, and I like that strategy about whatever NFL team selects you in the draft. Not sure that's going to work, but hey, you got to aim for the fences, young man.
Yeah, I ain't mad at it.
Keep doing it. Now, on to the biggest game of the weekend, baby. The Army Black Knights are going down to Baton Rouge, going down to the Red Stick to visit my Louisiana State University Tigers. The LSU Tigers are welcoming in the Army Black Knights of West Point. So, we know that LSU is going to be a favorite. They are favored. They should win. They have the number one ranked offense in the college football, so they should win. And if they don't win by a hefty margin, I'm going to be pissed. But I don't want them to blow out my Black Knights too bad, right? I want it to be a reasonable distance in the scoring and kind of shut it down by midway through the third quarter. And just let everybody else just parlay and get out of there with a dub, and then move on and get ready for that big game first Saturday in November. So I'm going to let you say a little something about the Black Knights, man. Make sure you give them some love.
Hey, all I'm going to say is go Army. That's it. I ain't got nothing else to say. I don't even know why this is even a topic of discussion right now.
Why you hating, man? Man, hey, we've already come up to the top of the hour. So before we go off tonight, go Army beat LSU. Yeah, Harold, stop.
Look. You see what Troy said?
It's go Army beat Navy, right? That's the saying. Don't try that with go Army beat LSU. Stop that. Anyway,
hey man, I would Harold, man. You should have never put it. You should have never put it up here if you didn't want nobody to talk about that.
Hey, by all means, take your pot shots, right? But don't come over here on Tuesday night and y'all done took an L to the Volunteers. Then we're gonna really have something to talk about, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you for any closing comments before we get out of here, Mike.
Hey man, as always, man. I always look forward to getting on here on Friday. I look forward to chatting with you, chatting with everybody in the group. I thank y'all again for y'all continued support. I ask you to keep on supporting us. Make sure you share our live podcast with everybody that you know, man. And let's just keep on coming back, man. All y'all comments really do mean a lot to us. We see them, and that's why we try to address them. But hey, another good show, my brother. I appreciate you, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to go 7-0 in my predictions this weekend, since there was zero emotion tied to my pick, since I wasn't picking a Saints game. So look for my record to continue to expand the distance. You begin to see a object that is smaller and smaller and smaller in front of you as I get further and further in my predictions.
I like that.
You like that? Now,
Yeah.
no, to everyone out there, thank you for taking this hour to join us and spending a little bit of time and sharing your commentary with us. As Griff mentioned, we come here to share a dialogue about our favorite pastime for those who love the game of football, and share a little bit of our personal experience based on what teams we like, what teams that we believe can go from here to there and do the great and wonderful thing, which is to hold the trophy up at the end of the season. So hopefully your team has very much or a lot of success this weekend. And if you are conducting homecoming activities in the college realm, please be safe, consume alcohol responsibly, and take care of each other. And may your team do well on the field. Nobody likes having a homecoming and then losing the game. That's terrible. Don't let that happen to you, Florida State, and whoever else got a homecoming game this weekend. To all of the NFL fans, see y'all on Sunday on the gridiron. May your team perform well. Join us right here Tuesday night where we recover from this weekend's action and we revisit what shockers that we may have witnessed based off of what great plays were made by great players. See everybody on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Y'all have a safe weekend. Y'all be safe, be blessed, do something nice for each other. Y'all be breezy.